Why are you doing that? He said, Macron, nice guy. You know, look, he's for France. I'm for us. I'm for us. You know how you spell us, right? You spell us, U.S.
We know Donald Trump is a moron, but we seem to be getting more and more evidence in the recent weeks of his deterioration, publicly unraveling as if the stress of these cases against him, 4 indictments, 91 charges, is actually starting to take its toll on the disgraced former president. Here he talks about, I presume, the French president Emmanuel Macron. He calls him Macron.
Macron.
Who is not somebody I'm familiar with. I'm sure Emmanuel Macron will have some problems with that as well. Trump's never been able to really pronounce any of the foreign leaders' names. This is something he struggled with, which is probably why he's stuck with the ones that he's practiced, like Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un, or Little Rocket Man, as he likes to call him. And maybe that's the reason why he gives these people nicknames. Notice that Vladimir Putin, the person he is closest to, is one that never received a nickname. And I'm sure there are good reasons why that is the case. Here he claims he was reading. Not sure that that's true, but anyway, he sees the word us. He asks how it's spelt.
You know how you spell us, right? You spell us, U.S.
And then he goes on to claim that he has come up with this amazing connection where us and U.S. actually spell out the same thing. Us spells United States. And to him, this is a moment of genius.
I just picked that up. Has anyone ever thought of that before? I just picked that up. A couple of days I'm reading and it said us. And I said, you know, if you think about it, us equals U.S. Isn't that? Now, if we say something genius, they'll never say it.
And he goes on in this speech to complain that the media give him no credit for his ability as a great orator. Now, if him working out that us and U.S. have a connection grammatically, then clearly that's something that deserves a lot of column inches. But in reality, it shows the mental state of this man.
You know, we get 25, 30, 40, 50, 80,000, 100,000 people to speeches. They've never said Trump's a great speaker. Never said. I've never heard it. I said to my people, do you think they'll ever acknowledge I must be doing okay?
His cognitive ability, but also the fact that he was never very smart in the first place. And this just goes to prove where his intellect has topped out.
Except I'm a very handsome person, so I guess a lot of you want to sit. They want to sit and look at me because I'm so, like a beauty pageant. No, it's amazing.
We need to take very seriously the fact that this guy was in charge of national security. We're now hearing that with this blabbermouth, because no one's ever trusted him with anything important, being given the nuclear codes and the national secrets, it's clear now that he has blabbed information to a wealthy Australian business tycoon. And we're also discovering that this now could have compromised national security with Iran, because, of course, Trump is now going on stage and talking about events that happened during his presidency that have a serious national security issue regarding Iran and missiles, and how Donald Trump saved the day.
Get out of here. You're fired.
If you think that having this guy back in the White House is in any way, especially under the current circumstances with the war in Gaza and weapons being fired from Yemen, Hezbollah getting involved, Russia's fingerprints all over a lot of it, if you think that having Donald Trump as president during this period, let alone the war between Russia and Ukraine, if you think it's a good idea to bring this man back and have him with all of his problems and childlike qualities getting across this stuff and breaking the confidence of U.S. intelligence, then, you know, I personally would be very worried. The fact that the Republicans are prepared to put this guy up, who is also up for multiple charges in front of judges and juries, suggests to me that Donald Trump is the last person on this planet that should ever be considered for the role of President of the United States. Just imagine if Barack Obama got up and said, I was doing some reading and I worked out that us is spelt US, and that's like US United States. So us is United States. I worked that out and I never get any credit for it. Can you imagine if Obama came out with these words? The problem is that we have normalized Donald Trump's idiocy. We have normalized his infantile behavior. We have normalized his fascism, speaking now about, the first thing I'm going to do is bring back the Muslim ban.
I will implement strong ideological screening of all immigrants. If you hate America, if you want to abolish Israel, if you don't like our religion, which a lot of them don't, if you sympathize with jihadists, then we don't want you in our country and you are not getting in.
Trump is pleased that there is a conflict in the Arab world, so he can blame Muslims and close the borders. This really is the simplistic nature of Donald Trump's policies. Now, unfortunately, for some people, maybe, 30% of the country, that works. They think that is the way to president. But for anybody who understands diplomacy, international relations, religious freedom, and all of the important aspects of a modern democracy, you'll know that is the language of an authoritarian. It is unsavory, it is distasteful, it is xenophobic. And to allow that kind of rhetoric after everything we learned from his last 4 years would be so dangerous to the very fabric of American freedom and American democracy. We had Joe Biden in his speech talking about Palestinian Americans and Israeli Americans. And so the very face of America, the very fabric of American society will change once again under a future Donald Trump presidency. So you have to ask yourself, is this what I want for America? Donald Trump is now going out and saying, well, don't even worry about voting. I don't know where this is coming from. I guess this is some kind of inflated ego. Don't even worry about voting on voting day. It's not necessary. We've got plenty of votes.
A little election that went astray. So we have to be careful. You got to get out there and you got to watch those voters. You don't have to vote. Don't worry about voting. The voting, we got plenty of votes. You got to watch election night. It used to be election day, election night. Now it's election month.
Unfortunately, that phrase might come back to haunt him, because the very thing you should be doing on voting day is vote. I'm Anthony Davis. You can hear me every day on the 5-Minute News podcast, on Wednesdays, co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sundays on The Weekend Show with MeidasTouch.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.